Hi and welcome to Schmooze with Suze. I'm Suze Montgomery, your host, and boy, we've got a show. Let me tell you, I've been dying to do this one for a long time, and it just happened to work out on my scheduling because I usually schedule about 2 years out with guests, but it just happened to be somebody crapped out, and then I talked to Sarah, and I go, slid her in the slot. Yeah. So now we have Sarah Flesher, I'm sorry, Sarah, and Michelle Nosco with us today, and we're talking about art in the city of Ventura. Wow. Okay, so bring me up to speed. What's happening?
Well, thank you for having us. That was really
you're more
cool.
than welcome for
really
being
cool.
So what's going on with you guys?
Well,
you guys are big time for the art world in Ventura, by the way.
Okay.
Well, seriously, they are.
Thank you. Well, our big thing right now is we're resurrecting Artwalk, which has always been a big deal in Ventura. Big 2-day celebration every year. And
how long has it been gone?
We had it, but then this year it got canceled.
Okay.
The small group of volunteers that were pulling it together every year had to step down this year, just due to, life stuff. And so Michelle here said, hell no, we're going to get this going again and take over.
Yeah, you in, right?
Yeah, there were a number of people who had said that they wanted to be part of it. And I went to the Wave Arts Council and said, are we going to back this? I mean, we really should, because first of all, the city has put their faith in the Wave, Working Artists Ventura, and we really need to give back. And everybody voted, yeah, let's do it. So I got on the phone, Denise Sindelar at the museum said, yeah, let me talk to everybody and make sure they wanted to be on board, and the BAA and the Artists Union and Art City and a bunch of people downtown, Bell Arts, yeah.
Bell Arts. Well, the arts in Ventura are, they go through the up and down cycles, okay? Right. And I've watched, because I've been here since 1980. And when they did the first art walks, they were hugely attended. Mm-hmm. But it was walking, and it was just downtown core. They never explored over into the west side. And I think they made a huge mistake by not expanding it. And that was the days just when the Artists Union launched. BAA, I think, was there. But they do a different type of art. BAA attracts different types of artists, right?
Well, they did. Now they're very open, very eclectic now. It went
good.
From plein air to abstract. The abstract call is out right now for the next show that's going to be on for Artwalk. I think that you're bringing up a great point, though, that because it was all in one area and the west side was somewhat ignored, everybody who got together and said, yeah, we'd like to resurrect this, but everybody agreed we had to have shuttles. Not just one, they said two, three. 3 shuttles that'll be going all around the whole route, including downtown. Like we've got Latitudes and Fox Fine Jewelers and the Very Ventura Gifts and Gallery. They're an art gallery.
Right.
So, and the Visitor Center. So we'll tell people, please come, and you can park at either the museum parking lot, which is a great place for it to start, and then get on the shuttle and you can go around through downtown, and then you come around the west side and you go.
So you can you just get on and off the shuttle at any time?
Yep. Absolutely.
Oh, this is going to be fantastic. We've never had anything like that. People get tired, and they just, and
they go to one.
I don't think it's about, it's an older crowd, isn't it? Like, older crowd that goes to the, no, I don't mean older like 90, but I mean like it's not kids.
Well, nobody's going to, you're right, exactly. Yeah,
so
it's all kinds of family.
By having shuttles, there's no excuse why they can't attend.
Or even a family. If you want to take a family, you've got to get in and out of the car and park and forget it. So this way you can go to the whole thing all day from 11 until 7. You can get on and off and on, and it's free.
You've got the whole day now. Are there going to be, like, galleries are going to be open?
Yes.
There's a lot of artists I know that live on the west side, like Lynn Creighton. Will she, she's a
She'll be there
sculptor.
over at Bell Arts. She's got a place, and then the 643 Project Gallery.
What's that?
Well, it's the Fermanskys.
Monica
Fermansky
the
has
home
that.
of the ink spots. They do printmaking, and it's pretty great place.
Okay.
And we're going to be hosting the Ventura College. Bob Moskowitz is going to be spearheading that, and Kathy Day. is bringing in a bunch of artists from the college.
This is going to
And
be
we're
bigger than you've ever done before, or
it's
anybody's ever done before.
all about the arts. We're going to have, in fact, at the Art City Gallery, which is a beautiful gallery, all enclosed with beautiful lighting, walls. They're going to host the Ventura College, and probably be some Ventura College people over at the Fermanskys over at Project Space. And there's some new venues. But in addition, we've got the Harmonics and the Broadway Juniors are a couple of the groups, the a cappella groups and the singing groups that are over with the Ventura College. And who else? There's a couple, and the Rubicon. Some of the people in the Rubicon, some of the actors will be either riding the bus, and our artist here, our special artist, has volunteered to, she's spearheading. You want to tell them what we're doing?
Yeah, what are you doing?
I am painting 8 very large canvases that are going to hang at the different shuttle stops. And each one's going to be kind of a riff on a famous painting. Like, for instance, there'll be a Picasso, kind of, and
Somebody dressed up as Picasso.
yeah, and hopefully I'm going to have hopefully I'm going to get some kid actors to get on ball.
Well, the Rubicon, some
yeah,
of them.
so I want to have like somebody
Yeah, they've
dressed up
got a
as
youth group.
Picasso,
Right.
standing there,
And there's
Talking about his work.
and
right.
step on
Toulouse-Lautrec.
into to have a little kid be Toulouse-Lautrec. Maybe some can girls.
So they're all
Get a
riffs
couple
on
of
those different
Fridas
artists.
This is
singing.
brilliant.
But each location is going to have a huge painting
Yeah.
that's going to be spearheaded by Sarah and some artists, including myself and some other volunteers.
I'm hoping to get some kids to help. And
Now,
maybe
I
some
know
of the
your medium
students.
is paint, right?
Paint and
Yeah.
paper mache and
Okay.
found
And
objects.
what's your medium?
I love oils and all kinds of paint. Yeah, I'm a painter.
I am still in love with your piano that you did.
Oh. The
See the
piano.
Rubicon, right?
That was one of the best projects in this town.
They threw it away.
They threw your piano away? Okay, now
I don't know.
remind me, what did people donate these pianos?
The Rubicon
Yes.
got people to donate pianos. Some of the thrift stores and stuff.
And
for
then
instance.
the artist
The
painted
art
them.
And then we painted them.
I
And then they were
painted one.
positioned all over town, downtown, right?
Yeah.
And people could just come up and start playing.
Right, but mine was in
Brilliant.
front of the mission,
Yep.
And where
and
was mine?
I got the priests upset in the middle of the night at the mission because people were playing it. So one of the priests came down in the middle of the night with his drill. He drilled the whole thing shut, screwed it shut.
How did you both get started in art? I mean, were you always artsy as a kid? I mean,
I
was that
yeah.
something that you were attracted to?
Yep.
My
We-
mother was an artist. I grew up in an art gallery.
Okay, that makes sense then.
Yeah.
So you inherited the genes.
Right.
Michelle, you?
Well, our family they were musicians, and they said, don't go into music. So I went into art instead.
But you obviously have, both of you have a very
I mean, I play music.
hyper attenuated right side of the brain,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Because that's where all your creative genius lies. And when you were in school, I mean, did you take art classes or
Oh, yeah.
you just continue to do your art yourselves? I mean,
Just did it myself.
just did it yourselves.
I studied everything in the book. I lived in Detroit, and I'd go from the suburbs, which is where we all lived, the white thing. And we went downtown to the museums. From the time I was 5, they would let us go. They would teach us a technique and then say, go find your favorite thing. I would always go to Franz Hall's Laughing Boy, or there were these medieval knights. I mean, the security guards at the Museum of Art, which is a world-class museum, were our nannies. They would,
Wow.
Yeah.
and from that point on, I would take classes. I took them down Wayne when I was a kid, and they'd say, none of these credits are ever going to go towards your college. But when I got to college, they said, oh, well, of course, you're going to place out, and it just went on. But I was like a Da Vinci kid. My parents always said, whatever you want to do, if it's...
So you got encouragement at home.
Absolutely.
And obviously you did too,
Yeah.
if you had a parent that was, in galleries.
Yeah.
I always
Lucky.
found it fascinating to me. And art, I buy it. I can't do it. I think there's distinct personalities that go with people that are artistic or not. And I think, to you, it's a joy. I mean, I love to purchase it. I took Morgan to every museum I could think of, our granddaughter, And she's got somewhat of my dad's skill. My dad was an artist as well, but I don't have any of that. And I've always been, just in awe of anybody that could.
Well, it's like Bob.
Yeah, he's the science guy.
Right, and he drew this little drawing, and I walked by and I said, "That's a really cool picture of trees." I was very surprised, and he looked at me and goes, "Those are electrodes."
Oh, wow.
I'm with Bob.
He's brilliant, yeah.
That's why Bob and I always communicate well. Now, what year did Artwalk start here? I'm thinking maybe 20 years ago. Do you have any history on something like that?
Something like that.
And that was, I think it was actually funded and supported by the city of Ventura.
It was.
Did Joe Cardella have anything to do with it?
Not really. Joe was on the art. Well, in fact, Joe is the one that asked me to put the Artists Union board together as a nonprofit, and I did that as a volunteer. Because I work with nonprofits, and I know how to do this since I was, when I was in my 20s. And really, at that time, the Artists Union was considered or seen as like really avant-garde. They were all the ones that were pushing the envelope. We had the what was that one event we did where everybody came half dressed? It was the.
Oh, I heard about that one.
Oh my God, was this hysterical? There was one in San Francisco, and it was like the naked ball. Everybody came in. Oh yeah, I've got stories. I can remember everybody wore whatever they felt like, and it was art, but it was also very entertaining. I just sat back and watched. But I think the city, we had a cultural affairs board, and we had a public art board, but the cultural affairs board, and Denise Sindelar was very involved with the arts at City Hall when she worked there before at the museum. And she actually was the one that was responsible for the municipal art gallery up at City Hall. If you haven't seen this, you should really take the opportunity to go to City Hall, and on the first and second floor is a municipal art gallery of locals, but also we have people like John Nava and people like that are, internationally known that have their work there as well. Cardella's work is there with Art Life. And we spend plenty of time in his backyard.
Yep, they're going to be over at the Wave in a special exhibit during the Art Walk. And speaking of John Nava, that he was at Vita when they opened, and Vita's involved now too. So
I went to that about a month ago.
Beautiful.
And that Mary Perez does a great job.
Right, exactly.
But the Nava pieces, I'm always been enchanted with his work, only because of what he does here. And to me, I was always a fan of Singer Sargent.
Oh yes.
And in Boston, when I went to Boston all those times, and I remember the luminosity and the quality of skin that Nava would do, which was the same thing that Singer Sargent did. Right. He captured light.
Right.
And I think as an artist, I've been, I'm not an artist, but I've always been in awe of artists that can do this.
Yeah.
And John Nava did all those tapestries down at the, what is it?
At the Archdiocese down in...
Yeah, it's the, what is it? It's the Basilica downtown Los Angeles.
Oh,
and he did the tapestries of all the saints.
They're amazing.
St. Vibiana's?
No, Vibiana's closed. And you know what they're doing with the Vibiana's now? It's been redesigned and redevelopment. Now it's housing, believe it or not, because they couldn't afford to put it back together again because they couldn't afford the earthquake repairs and foundational changes they made. So Vibs changed, Catholic school kid. St. Vibs closed, and then they moved, and then was it Roger Mahoney, who was the Archbishop at the time, commissioned to have this brand new cathedral, the Cathedral of the Angels, built, but it's down in the middle of Skid Row, which is really interesting. But the building in itself is
spectacular,
amazing.
And those
it's alabaster,
panels, those huge panels.
those panels were done by Nava. Yeah. He first painted them and then brought into Bruges and actually had them made into tapestries. Nava would be a fabulous person to just talk to because of his ability to, and then he went all over Ojai looking for people to pose for the Litany of the Saints, which are the saints that are all around.
Is that who he used to pose? Oh my, were you in there too?
No, I said no to Mary Magdalene.
Yeah.
I didn't think it would be my family wouldn't want to remember me like that. But I think his work is absolutely gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
Okay, so tell me more about what else are we missing about, because I really want folks to come.
Well, the
to
events. I think that the events at each of the galleries, and we'll have a schedule so that you're going to want to stay on that bus and keep on, get off and see the harmonics, or get off and see John Barty or some of the other fantastic musicians that we have locally, as well as, Davey Miller has some of the people, he's got some fantastic jazz musicians that are going to be over.
Now, he's a drummer?
He is a drummer, but he's an artist. He's the one who did that huge wave on the Watermark, where the Watermark restaurant used to be.
I ran into him at Rite Aid, and I lost his card, so if you could send it to me, I'd like to talk to him. Is he at the Wave?
He is at the Wave, and he's just opening up a new cafe across from Bell Arts, and he's going to be one of the artists sponsored. And
a cafe?
It's a gallery cafe. He's going to bring in some jazz, top flight jazz is going to be there, as well as our Rubicon actors are going to be there. We're going to have, everywhere you go, whether it's the Rubicon actors acting out some of the Welcome to the World of Art paintings that Sarah's going to be spearheading, or the music is going to be fabulous, the actors are going to be cool, the singers.
This is so gratifying, Michelle.
It's all about the arts.
This city has never gotten behind the collaboration of music and art. Never. Yeah. It's never happened here, because there's been distinct camps. Yeah, and then the avenue, I think Ventura Avenue, which is, I always envisioned it years ago as being a artist gay community, because that is who could afford to buy on the avenue. But now, the avenue is expensive. But in the old days, it was. I really see the artists as live work on the avenue. And with all the new murals, MB does some of them and other people do them, the community is really stepping up.
Yeah.
I'm just really encouraged by everything that's happening.
We're looking at it as an amazing event that's all arts related, so that when people want to come, they can do it all in one day. They'll be able to go around.
You're going to give out maps, right?
We've got maps. We're going to be in the VC Reporter.
I was just going to ask you, do you have a pull-out?
Yeah.
So people could get it and just go?
And we've got Christopher Bruton, who's he's a fantastic photographer.
Oh,
and I do have some things that you'll be able to show. I put them on my little thumb drive.
Oh, good. So we'll be able to show these on the show here.
You'll see who he is. He's a top flight photographer, and everybody will be telling, everybody will have an artist that is their artist representative for each of the galleries. He'll take photography of it, make those big posters. We'll have them all around town. They're beautiful, beautiful black and whites.
This is, you guys are going to bang this thing out. How long have you been working on this? Months? Don't tell me 2 weeks.
Months.
Okay.
Not as many months as they've had in previous years. So, but we've been on it, and a lot of the people who were part of it before have decided to get back on board, and
because
so
of
we're real
leadership, they were
excited.
probably impressed with what you were doing.
Yeah.
Years ago, this city called itself the New Art City. Do you remember that?
Remember
You
when
remember that?
happened, yeah.
That was when Paul had the old site from Art City, Paul Linhart.
He's my neighbor.
And he's
at the Wave.
Oh, okay. So he does. Oh, is he at the Wave too?
Yep.
Are
He and
you
Lori,
at the Wave?
I'm at the Wave. Yeah, and he and Lori are my next door neighbors.
Okay, so tell me about the Wave. I remember when the city made the original concept and plans for the Wave, and this has got to be, 15 years ago at least?
Oh, okay. The
Longer?
original. It's been actually built for 10 years, so it probably was 15 years ago.
We did
when they
concepting
started.
because I went to a lot of the concept meetings,
Right.
and we were batting it around, and they asked me just as a business person to give my input, and I'm going, I love the idea, but who's paying for it? That was my big thing. I was always looking at the bottom line. And I think it started out as a nonprofit that built it. I'm not...
Place.
Okay.
It's called Place, and they're out of Minnesota.
Okay.
And they teamed up with the city, and Jasco is the property manager right now.
Okay,
they're part
so
of it.
do they still have it? Do they still own it? Who owns the Wave?
Yeah, it's that three-part thing.
City, one part?
Well, I don't even know if the city does. I think they were bought out just recently. They sold the condos. They own the condos.
Wait a minute, condos? Where is the condo?
Oh, I'm sorry. There are a few of the bigger apartments that are on the third floor that were considered condos that were available for purchase. Otherwise, everything else is all...
So there's some privately owned
There
spaces?
are a few spaces. They're beautiful.
I never even heard of this.
Yeah, well, it only, they are renting them right now, but
Okay.
yeah, Jeff one of our local realtors is handling those. I think
Becker.
Becker.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I'm
But
looking,
most of them, I
how
think we
many
have
units
84
are there?
84 arts units, artist units, 84.
And they're always filled, correct?
Oh my gosh.
There's probably
Well,
a waiting list.
Yeah, there is a waiting list, but I think it's so well worth it. What happens is you go there and you will go, what's going on with the wave? People are doing things like we have the Arts for Earth Foundation. We're always involved with all of the environmental things. There's a foundation, MAFI, the Music and Art for Youth. That's another, they give scholarships to kids for music lessons and art lessons and things. And Vita Gallery, that came out of it. So people, there's some amazing.
A lot of people launched out of there, did they not?
Yeah, but I mean, a lot of people are still there. They're doing things all over town.
Now,
And
what's the criteria? Do you have to be an artist?
a working artist in some way, yeah, it has to be your passion. They try not to be too judgmental about what that means, but as long as you're really passionate about your art and you're doing it every day, you're a working artist, then you'll be considered for participation.
So who
And that
makes
means
the
performance,
determination?
performance,
Performance as well?
performance, visual, and literary arts. So some people are playwrights. We have people who have
Didn't know
plays
that.
on Broadway, and musicians.
You guys
who
make
are-
too much money.
Well, that's the problem. Yeah, if
Yeah.
you make too much
I just
money,
live
or
in
if you
the
don't
hood.
make enough. Yeah.
Sarah's husband teaches at the college.
I think
He's my
they'd be
science
perfect.
guy. Bob the
They'd be
science guy.
Perfect candidates. I'd love to have them there. It'd be great.
I could totally see you guys there.
Yeah.
But I've always been impressed with the wave because at first I was a little confused how we were going to populate it and how it was going to get funded.
Oh my gosh.
But then
Waiting list.
there was, then I started to see it starting to move and people started moving in and everything was there. I've been to a lot of events there and it's a great venue space. I would love to see you guys build that out and rent it out as a venue space and put in lights and put in other, like community stuff, like
Right.
so you guys
right.
could make some money.
A performance center. We have
Yeah.
a 2-year plan. Right now, the Artist
Okay.
Council is working towards it'll be a 10-year plan really, but a 2-year plan to open up. By the time that all of the apartments are getting built in the area, we'd like to be a cultural center that will assist some of what the museum does or what Vita does.
Can you
We'll be
charge
right in there.
people for rental space there?
There
Or
is
not?
there is a small charge. I think mostly we want it to be available to the community.
Okay,
Yeah,
because there's very few performing arts venues in this town.
yeah.
I mean, I know the museum does, they've got a space, but we really, the Old Mission's got a space there too, but there's not a lot.
Namba
Well-
is trying to.
That's right.
Oh,
Namba
Naba,
is
now what's
good.
that?
They're on Oak, right?
Yeah,
And,
Namba.
What
They
do
have
they do?
performing arts.
Yeah, they have
Performing arts?
dance. Oh, John White was doing some of his performance art there.
Okay.
There's some youngins going in doing performance art, music, and
Dance. They have a lot of
dance and
dance.
stuff.
Have the girls, have your kids ever followed in your footsteps? Have the kids been interested in doing art?
No, Annie was really good at it, and so she stopped immediately. But now she's followed in my animal footsteps.
Okay,
So she's doing the whole dog stuff.
okay.
Ginger is really good, but now she's 13, so she's all,
Yeah, well,
13
years old, they're not
can't
same
tell what
people
she's gonna
anymore,
do.
so that
Yeah.
doesn't even factor.
So
But it's interesting to see if, by your modeling, the artists to me, I always have been envious of artists because you have a different persona. You follow your own path. You're not in a box. And that's what makes you creative. And you're not afraid to try anything. The rest of us are these we live in a box. We don't go 5 degrees. We don't go 5 degrees. But you just,
I look at you and I think of all the things that you've done and the way you've helped the community.
Yeah.
And
It's
you've never
like,
lived. You've never lived in a box. But I appreciate what you're saying about
Yeah.
artists.
Yeah,
That's,
but
we all have our way of expressing, and you blow me away with what you do.
well, I
mean,
just
really.
do. I don't even think
See what
about
I'm
it half
saying?
the times,
Yeah.
But it's just,
Right.
but I've always been so, I guess it's envious of you as artists.
Well, you
because
come on
it's a
over and we'll
skill
put
that
a
I love.
paintbrush on your hand. I've taught
Yeah.
Oh,
many
come on.
people how to
I'm-
loosen
oh,
that
no.
one
Stick.
up.
Stick figures.
Nobody wants
Nah.
it. No, I'll teach you how
Stick
to do the
figures.
stuff.
I helped teach a class at BC, beginning drawing, and
I
Most-
didn't know that.
Well, it was, you know, it was just there, sort of. I didn't get paid or anything, but I helped teach. They had all the students there. Stick figures was
Well, that's my specialty.
hard for them, and
Cute.
we did these various exercises and things. And by the end of the semester, you were blown away at what these kids could do.
How do you teach somebody that doesn't have the skills? Do
Well,
they have to have a modicum of talent at all?
I have something that I tell the kids, and I've taught number of times, and I don't think they have to have any talent. But what I tell people is that I'll give you 3 new letters of the alphabet: triangle, circle, and square. And you put them together in any form,
Yeah.
and you can draw anything in the universe. Do you know how to make a triangle or a circle? It doesn't have to be a perfect circle, or a square. And you put those together, and you can make an owl, or you can make a spaceship, or anything.
You guys have the idea.
It's easy.
Yeah, right.
It's easy.
So she
tricks.
says.
Falling
They're
off
just
a
And
log.
I'm giving you
There's-
the look because we're running out of time.
The trick.
Always got the look, right? I want to thank you, Michelle,
Thanks
and
for coming
also,
on,
gosh,
yeah.
Sarah, I've known you forever, but I guess I got to know you better, and I got to know you better.
thank
And I will be at Artwalk. I plan on being there,
Absolutely,
and I want to see what you're doing. I'm very excited. I think the community is going to benefit, and I think you're going to make a big change in the art world here. I'm praying that you will, because it needs
Yeah,
to happen.
it's going to be cool.
We're
Resurgence.
looking ahead to the next one and the next one. We've got some great
Keep
ideas.
it going, girl.
Oh yeah, it's a
Yeah.
parade next year.
Yeah, we want to do a parade.
Can
Oh,
you
I would
believe
love
it?
a
Oh yeah,
parade.
just like the
Yeah.
solstice.
I
Wild.
want solstice.
Wild. And every stop will
Incorporate
have one
that
of them.
half-dressed event. Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. Thanks for being here. We'll be back next week. Probably not as exciting, but we'll be back next week. And thanks for joining us tonight.